So hey students, welcome back to Diksha Vedantu 9th and 10th English channel. This is Basavaraj, I'm your biology master teacher. But in today's video, we'll be learning a poem from the chapter, that is a part of the chapter, that is a letter to the god. In the chapter letter to the god, at the end of the chapter, after the entire question answers, we have two poems, right? The first poem here is your Dust of Snow. The second poem is your Fire and Ice. Both the poems are written by the same poet, that is Robert Frost. And students, remember this, Robert Frost is a very famous and eminent poet. His poems are a little different because they not only just give you rhyming words, they give you a very important message. One such message is that about superstitions. What is a superstition? Superstition is a belief, like which may be true, may not be true, but generally it is not true. For example, you might be going on a road, or suddenly a black cat walks by. What do you say? Oh my god, the work is not going to be done today. That's right, that's what you might be thinking. But all of these are superstitions. There are multiple superstitions, especially in a country like India, where we have so many things happening. But our poet here has a very different perspective to it. What I mean perspective, I mean a different way to look at it. For example, here there are two examples which is given in NCR, in your poem here, which I'll be telling you. But for us, it might be a very bad sign. But for poet, it was a very good sign. He did not take it in a negative sense at all. In fact, whatever negative sense which we take generally, the poet completely took the opposite. So let's read the poem once before we understand it, and then understand every line, every word of it. Can we start? The dust of snow. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Very simple poem, but it has a very deep meaning. For example, let's read the first stanza here, that is, the way a crow shook down on me. So students, this is a situation where the author, the poet, is walking past a hemlock tree, or he's just standing below a hemlock tree. Suddenly what happens, a crow is sitting on top of the hemlock tree, and it is a complete winter season. And unlike in many parts of India, in western countries there is a complete snow region, right? Complete snow. Every single tree out there is covered by snow there. It happens in India, obviously, it's a very beautiful country. In this scenario here, when the poet is standing below a hemlock tree, a crow is sitting on top. And suddenly what happens? The crow tried to move around, and with that movement, the snow which was on top of the hemlock tree started to dust down. That is, the way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow. Now, what is the meaning of dust of snow? The meaning of dust of snow here is nothing but a small fragments, small dust of snow, fragments of snow from a hemlock tree. Now here, I want all of you to understand two different words here, and as well as what it signifies. For example, the first one here is the way a crow. Now, generally in a poem or any other chapter or any other poem as such, authors or poets usually use a very beautiful birds and everything. But here a poet is trying to use a crow as a significance. Now, what could be the reason? Here the crow usually signifies death. Yes, whenever there's a death, there might be crow there. It signifies sorrow, it signifies sadness. That's what a poet is trying to tell us. The entire situation which is going around him, that is, he's a little more sadness, and also the hemlock tree. And students, remember, this hemlock tree is a very poisonous tree. So both the characters here, one is a crow, other one is a hemlock tree, both of them resemble and tells us about some sadness or a sad situation, which is describing the actual situation of our poet here, who is in a very sad state and very worrisome. That is here. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So the first paragraph is depicting the mood of the poet. It is also telling us a story. That is, as the poet is standing below the hemlock tree or walking past the hemlock tree, a crow is, crow moved, and entire dust of snow fell from the hemlock tree. Now students, if it was you or me or any other person, would you consider this as a good luck or bad luck? Honestly, tell me in the chat. This is actually, we would consider as a bad luck, right? Because a crow, a poisonous tree, a snow is falling from a poisonous tree, you might consider as a very negative sense. You might something, oh my god, my work will not happen now, something bad is going to happen. but our author is different. The approach is very different. The next stanza has given my heart a change of mood. So the change of mood can either be from happy to sad or sad to happy or angry to happy, something like that. The change of mood here author is telling us actually he was sad before, he became happy later on. So the change of mood here is from sad to happy. It is the complete opposite which you and me would feel. Like, you know, something, a crow is coming on sitting on top of your head and it did something. You'll feel bad, you'll feel like, you know, something negative is going to happen. But that did not happen with the author. He actually became happy. That is, the entire, you know, sad mood which he had going on, everything went away with that dust of snow. That is, and saved some part of a day I had rued. The saved some part of the day I had rued meaning here is he was in regret. His day was not going well. The entire day was, half of his day was wasted. But now, the next part of the day, it made him realize there are better things to do in life. Why do I have to just waste my time feeling sad? So students, you also should not feel sad. It's your time for your examination. So just like the author, you should all of you have a change of mood by the end of today's video, and please start studying. So before we go, let me give a quick summary which will help you answering the questions. Okay, the summary here is the article devoted to Robert Frost's short poem, The Dust of Snow summary. It is interpretation. It demonstrates an extraordinary curative power of nature. Now, what is the curative power of nature here? That is, hemlock tree, which is a poisonous tree. The crow, which is part of nature, which usually signifies death and sorrow. Yes, nature, as well as the importance of seemingly insignificant things in life. Yes, all of this does not have an actual impact, that a crow coming and sitting, but in your mind it is there, right? Nature has the ability to cure anything, whether it is a bad mood or illness. Obviously, it was during one of these bad days that author was dusted with the snow by a movement of a crow near a hemlock tree. So here, unlike all of you or me, even the author can be sad. He was sad, he was just sitting there or walking past a hemlock tree. Suddenly, a dust of snow fell on him because of a movement of a crow on a hemlock tree. He became instinctively happier. See, sad to happier. When it snowed, his day began to improve dramatically. His entire day became better. Why? Because he thought, he regretted that the entire day was wasted, but no more. Clear? The nature's supremacy forced him to acknowledge that his problems are insignificant. The nature way, his problems are very tiny in front of the nature problems. Ironically, the fact that hemlock is poisonous, combined with the fact that raven or the crow is a symbol of misery and fear, has been used in poetry as a carrier of happiness in the life of narrator. That's what the irony here is. The irony here is, even though the crow and the hemlock tree signifies death, sorrow, but the author did not consider any of those. For him, it was a happy thing to happen, right? Which is a paradox. The poets attempt to draw attention to the fact that creatures associated with negative aspects of life can on occasion bring about change and happiness. So not all crows are bad. Not all negative things can be a bad thing. Negative things, it is only your approach towards it. If a negative thing is happening, if you try to take it in a much more positive sense, nothing can stop you from being more happy. Being outside in nature with all its unpredictability can be beneficial to anyone at any time of the day or night. So students, just like all of that, please do not be any more sad. Don't be like, I wasted 10 days, I wasted 1 month, I wasted 2 months. You still have time. Anything can happen. So start studying, and I'll see you in the next class.